Yoga.
Okay, so I'm finally shooting the modless video. I'm actually reshooting it, so this is the second time that I'm shooting the video, just because the first time I wasn't really happy with how it came out, so I wanted to redo it and, you know, make it as best as I could. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So for anyone who's new here, this is my 2013 E92 M3. This is the last year that they produced the E92 M3. It's a 6-speed manual, it has the competition package, and I was pretty picky when I was looking for this car. I knew I wanted to have the 6-speed manual, I knew I wanted to have a comp pack, and I absolutely had to have the carbon fiber roof. So I was looking for this car for just over a year and a half until I found this particular one. I found a couple others along the way, but some of them did not have the carbon fiber roof, or they didn't have low mileage, so those were both deal breakers for me. So with these requirements, the low mileage, compact 6-speed manual, carbon roof, it made this car fairly difficult to find, but I was patient and I ended up with a fantastic car. Super happy with the color. It is space gray metallic, and you know, we can skip the rest of the history. If you guys want to see more or hear more about the history of the car, I can talk more about it, but let's get into what you guys came here to see, which are the mods on the car. So first mod up, let's start with the wheels. These are definitely a jewelry piece on the car and probably one of my favorite aspects of the car thus far. They're BBS FIR wheels. They're one of my favorite aspects of the car because of the design. So for those that aren't familiar, the FIR has these holes in the spokes, so it also makes them super light. The fronts weigh in at only 16.5 pounds and the rear's 17.5 pounds. They're insanely light. 19-inch wheels, approaching carbon territory weight-wise. Next up, let's talk about the brakes. Probably one of the hardest things to miss on the car since they're, you know, bright yellow. But this is the Harrop Ultimate Kit. It's got 6 piston calipers up front, 4 piston in the rear, and they're paired with massive rotors coming in at 381 millimeters up front and 356 in the rear. The brakes were tested, this is coming from their website. They're tested not by me, but they said that the car can stop from 100 kilometers an hour to 0 in less than 35 meters, which works out to 62 miles per hour to 0 in 114 feet, roughly. I just love the look of the BBK as well. So now let's move on to something that you can't necessarily see, but you can tell based on how the car is sitting, and that would be the coilovers. The coilovers I'm running are the Öhlins Rodent Track. The suspension can be super comfortable depending on where you set the stiffness to, but because I am a genius, I have it set to max stiffness just to mitigate some of the minor rubbing that I have when I'm taking corners. But other than that, when I had it on, you know, a decent setting before, it was super comfortable. But it's nice that you can just, you know, turn a knob and stiffen up the suspension if you're going to the track, and then just turn it right back when you leave the track, so you can have a nice comfortable ride home. And it sits so well. I'll show you guys in the front, or I'll show you the rear first. I just think it's a good height. Nothing crazy, but enough to look good. Also, keep in mind, this is a great setup. The only reason that I'm rubbing is because I am sitting fairly low and the tires are pretty aggressive, but I don't want to add any more negative camber, and I don't know, just don't really want to raise the car just yet. So I'm just happy with where it sits, so I can handle a little bit of rubbing. It's not too bad. But anyways, as I was mentioning the tires, let's go ahead and check those out. The tires that I'm running are the Toyo R888Rs, and actually I'm gonna go to the back. You can see it better. The tread pattern is super aggressive. These are R compound tires, and you know, I don't know, I've just always loved R compound tires. This car doesn't necessarily need such aggressive tires, but I like the look of them, and I also like the feel. Obviously, they're amazing tires. And I just like R compounds better. I don't really mind the noise too much, and these ones aren't that noisy in my opinion. Plus, I mean, I can't really hear it that much over my exhaust. But I've always loved R compounds since I had them first on my beloved Abarth, but we can talk about that another day. But like I said, they're not super noisy, at least it doesn't bother me, just because I'm used to the R compounds, and these are not nearly as noisy as the tires that I had on my Abarth. You can't really hear it anyways, just because the exhaust is so loud. But that's a good transition point. Let's stick to the back and let's talk about the exhaust. Let me just change this really quick. I'm sure most of you are familiar, but for those that don't know, I am running the BOMIS full titanium system, and this is set up in their race configuration. And I've been running this system for about 7 months now or so. I absolutely love it. Everything about this system is titanium. So from right after the headers, everything is titanium. The X-pipe, the axle back, and even the tips. As you can see right there and here. Lovely exhaust, it's absolutely beautiful. I can throw up a picture right now. So I made an in-depth review of what this exhaust sounds like, so if you want to know more about it or hear what it sounds like, go ahead and check that out. I'll link it in the description below, and I'll also link it at the end of the video. Spoiler alert, this exhaust does not sound like you have just chopped your mufflers off for 100 or 200 bucks. I thought it was funny that some people were commenting that you can just do that and have it sound the exact same, but sorry to inform you that is not how it works. It does not sound the same. Yes, I do understand that the configuration of the exhaust, whether it has 2 or 4 resonators, cats, etc., that does change the tone of it. But I'm talking about an identical setup, same diameter exhaust, titanium versus stainless, it sounds different. I had the exact same setup in stainless steel, and now I have the exact same setup in titanium, and I can tell you it does sound different. You can't really tell maybe that much in videos, but now that I've gotten so used to the titanium system, whenever I hear old videos of my car, I can tell the difference, and I'm sure if you heard it in person, you would be able to tell the difference too. Now again, not throwing shade at anyone that does have that setup. Stainless steel is perfectly fine, and I think it still sounds very good. I'm just saying, I think the titanium cleans up the sound a lot and just makes it sound a lot better and cleaner. That's just my opinion. It's hard to make the E92 sound bad at all, so any setup that you have will probably sound pretty good, but this is currently my favorite. Anyways, enough with the exhaust for now. If you want to see more and hear what it sounds like I said, click the link in the description below or watch to the end of the video and it will be linked there as well, so you can watch my in-depth review of it. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the front of the car, to another one of my favorite aspects. I know I keep saying this, but I just really love every part on this car. So let's talk about the headlights. These are the BayOptiks Headlights, fully custom. I got the full DTM rings and the LED eyebrow. The full housing of the headlights is carbon. I think you can see it better on this side just because of the lighting for now, but focus. So you can see the full housing is carbon and the eyebrow is carbon as well. There's the beauty piece. There's a lot in these headlights. I don't think I really want to go into that much detail right now. You can go to their website and check out my build listed there. So for anyone that's interested in a set of headlights, BayOptiks was very kind to offer a discount to anyone who does want any setup. This can go for the Visions, 3/4 DTM, full DTM, round rings, whatever you want. Use the code wettm3 and you will get a discount on your order. And for anyone who wants the secret sauce, the spec that I'm running, BayOptiks is going to create a listing that's exactly my spec. You don't have to fiddle with trying to spec it out yourself. It's going to be right there, all done for you. And you can use the code wettm3 special to get an even greater discount on my build specifically. So also keep in mind the discount codes are all lowercase, so make sure you're entering them correctly to get the discount. They also work on not just BMW, but Mini, Audi, Abarth, etc., etc. Just hit them up and I'm sure they can do some lights for you guys. I'll include the link below to my specific build so that you guys can easily access it. Or if you want to spec out your own lights, go ahead and do that and just use the regular code wettm3 to spec out whatever you want. All right, so now let's move on to the carbon that's on the car. So first up, let's start in the front with the lip I'm running. This is the Palm Performance GT4 lip. Super aggressive front lip. And you know, I actually didn't like this lip when I was first toying with the idea of getting a lip for the car, but it's really grown on me since, and I think it just works on my car now just because of the aggressive diffuser that I'm running, but more on that later. We will go in order. So another little piece on the car is these carbon fiber hood vents. Nothing crazy, but I just like the look of it. Adds a little bit of contrast to the hood. Small little addition. And those are from Auto Technic, I believe. Also, I think in this hood vent there was something that I think is like to catch water, but I ended up actually removing that just because I never drive this car in the rain, and whenever I wash the car I usually cover it. But since I removed it, now I have, I guess you can say, a mini functional hood vent. Next up, let's talk about the roof. One of my favorite parts of the car and something that I absolutely had to have. The whole roof on this car is carbon. It's OEM. I did not do this. Like I mentioned before, I was looking at other cars that had a moonroof, and I don't know, I just much prefer the carbon roof, so that was something that I had to have. So I also put PPF on the roof so it wouldn't get marred as easily. We also corrected it before the PPF, so right now it looks absolutely perfect. So before I get to the diffuser, let's talk about the side skirts. The side skirts I'm running are from Forceworks, and really like how prominent these are. They're fairly aggressive, more aggressive than some of the other ones on the market, and I just think it pairs nicely with the GT4 lip I have up front and the aggressive rear diffuser that I'm running. And so let's start to make our way towards the back. Right before the diffuser, we have Dinman side bumper skirts. Nice little addition to the rear end. And then let's talk about the diffuser as a whole. So I'm sure most of you can see my rear diffuser setup is quite interesting. I am running, first of all, let's talk about the most prominent piece, which is the carbon under tray. You can get this from Palm Performance. It's the Varus style and super aggressive under tray. And typically what the under tray is paired with is the Varus upper, which isn't as aggressive as this. And that was where I started to change things up. I just didn't love the look of the upper Varus. It just wasn't aggressive enough for me. So I definitely wanted something different. And I actually had this upper diffuser before. I ended up getting a brand new one when I got the under tray, just so that, you know, everything was fresh in the rear end. So this is the GTS diffuser, and it's really not meant to go together, but I just like how aggressive it turned out. And the super talented guys over at Precision Dynamics down in Costa Mesa were able to make this work for me and have a super aggressive rear end. Typically you only see the Varus under tray paired with the Varus upper, or now a few people have done this, but not that many people also have the side bumper skirts as well. So I have all three. I wanted to make sure I had, you know, my perfect diffuser setup, and I just love how aggressive it looks. I mean, just look at this. Especially with the Bomis titanium tips sticking out. And even though it's not meant to go together, it actually fits very well together. So I hadn't seen all three pieces together, a more aggressive upper diffuser paired with the Varus under tray, and then also with the side bumper skirts. So I wanted to do something different, and super happy with how it came out. The guys at Precision Dynamics did an amazing job making sure everything fit, and were very meticulous in mounting everything to make sure it wouldn't come off. So really happy with how it came out. So moving on to another carbon piece on the back of the car. This is just a deck lid spoiler. This is OEM M Performance. It actually came with the car. I would have done this anyways if it didn't come with it, but happy that that was one less thing that I, didn't have to do. I don't know, I think this works better with the shape of the car. I know there's some that have a little bit more of a kick to it and are a little bit more aggressive, but I just think this one suits the car much better, in my opinion, just fits my taste. So we've been covering a lot, but there's only a few things left on the exterior of the car that I can go over. And so, I'll talk about this quickly right now. But one of the last things on the exterior is the paint match reflectors. These are from I&D. I really didn't want to get these. I just, wanted to get a Euro bumper. I still am going to do that eventually, but for the time being, this works. So I don't mind it. Looks a lot better than having the, typical orange, in my opinion. So definitely a nice little addition just to clean up the front end a little bit. And then I think I mentioned earlier that I do have a stud conversion for the wheels, but again, very minor. And then I guess one of the last things that I didn't mention, I do have black grills, but nothing special. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have black grills or carbon grills. I probably won't get carbon grills, just, I don't know, not my style. So I'm good with the black grills. These are satin. I don't know, I may try out gloss and see how it looks. And then I think that's pretty much it for the outside of the car. So we can move on to the inside. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So as you can see, inside isn't too modded. It's very simple and clean, and that's the look I was going for. One thing that some people don't notice all the time is the steering wheel. This is an upgraded steering wheel. It's from AZA Auto Wheel, flat bottom, leather, and it has a blue stripe up top. Really happy with how it came out. I didn't get a carbon wheel just because, for me, I think it just would have kind of thrown off the interior. It would have stood out too much, so I just wanted something subtle, nice, that would blend in. I think the carbon just wouldn't really work with my interior. Let's go ahead and open up. Steering wheel also does have the M3 stitching. So if it'll focus, let's try this. There you go, you can see the stitching there. Perforated leather, really nice steering wheel. It's thicker, well, I don't know if it's thicker than OEM, but it does have a nice grip to it. Very happy with it. And then moving on, another subtle mod is the shifter. This is I guess you'd call it a short throw shifter. It's the F10 knob, retrofitted to this car. It's a nice little upgrade over just the stock shifter. A little bit shorter, and also it lights up at night, so I don't know, just a nicer feel. I liked it. And then probably one of the last things in the interior, I think it is the last thing, is just the handbrake boot, which is just leather with a tricolor stitching. Nothing crazy, but other than that, everything is stock on the inside, or OEM. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people have asked me, where I've gotten this. This is OEM. I didn't change this. So you can see on the side as well, and it's also on the back, but can't see it too well. Back seats have been used literally twice by me, so they're pretty much in perfect condition. So let's get on to the last couple things that we have. I'll go ahead and open up the hood. don't get too excited. I'm just opening up to show like one thing that I have. It's not crazy under the hood. So under the hood, pretty stock, nothing crazy going on. Some people think I'm supercharged. I'm not, I just have stock motor. The only thing that I've done is, as you can see with some of the wires right here, is we installed a flex fuel kit. So for those that don't know, flex fuel means that you can run ethanol or E85. So I can run full E85 or any mixture of E85 and 91. That is supposed to give me a little bit more power, but to be honest, like that's not what I'm going for. I just really wanted to run E, see what it was like. Cold starts are rough, to say it simply. And for me, it actually works out to be a little bit less than running 91, just because CA's gas tax is more than other states, so running ethanol does come out to be cheaper for me. And then probably the last thing that I haven't touched on, and I don't know if you can even see. Yeah, there's no way that you'll be able to see, but under there I have an aluminum skid plate. The OEM skid plate just is felt and it gets broken really easily. And for some reason, I don't know why, but BMW designed it so it hangs down. So this aluminum under tray or skid plate, whatever you want to call it, gives me more clearance and it won't break as easily, if not ever. But the aluminum skid plate is much better. I just was finding myself not even scraping my lips sometimes, but scraping the under tray, and it was getting pretty beat up, so I just decided it was time to take that off and just install an aluminum skid plate. So I think that pretty much covers the car. I don't think there's really anything else that I'm missing. So then close this up. I'll close it later when I'm done filming, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess the only other thing that I would add is the full nose of the car has PPF on it, and then the rockers have PPF along with the roof as well, the carbon roof. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I think that covers everything. Pretty sure I touched on everything. Wheels, brakes, suspension, tires, headlights, all the carbon on the car, and then a little bit of extra stuff like my AFD flex fuel kit that's under the hood of the car that allows me to run E, again, running no tune. But yeah, I think that is everything. So it's still pretty smoky out here in CA. Let's see if you guys can see any of that. It's starting to clear up a little bit, but still a bit smoky. But anyways, I need to get out of here now. I'm actually going to a meet later today, but I wanted to film this before I went out. And I wanted to be able to edit it so I can get it out soon. I know it's been way too long, and you know, I just wanted to shoot it and reshoot it and make it right. But again, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think your favorite mod on my car is. I don't know, I feel like I can't really decide. There's so many that I like. But again, make sure you hit up BayOptiks if you want some new lights for your car, and then use my code for a discount. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get going. Need to go fill up on some E before I go to this meet, and I will see you guys in the next video.